go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave.
Welcome to Real Talk Politics, where truth is unfiltered and unity is non-negotiable and survival is strategic. I'm your host, and today we're going to break down a conversation long overdue. Donald Trump has positioned his administration to launch one of the most abusive and aggressive assaults on human rights in U.S. presidential history. Trump even revoked a 1965 executive order that required federal contractors to take steps to comply with non-discrimination laws. America's founding lie. The problem with America isn't hidden in history books. It is the history or mythology created by white supremacy. This country exists on stolen land, funded by the stolen labor of enslaved Africa. That's the undeniable, observable reality. You don't need to be a scholar to see the foundation was rotten from the start. America was birthed by wealthy white men from England who demanded freedom from monarchy, yet turned around and settled on hypocrisy as their guiding principle. They cried liberty while holding chains. They wrote justice while wielding whips. America wants you to forget that its ascendancy, its entire economic and political dominance was built on the backs of our ancestors. But we don't forget. We honor the horror, the sacrifice, and the trauma that generations of black people endured at the hands of this government. We are not the problem. Let me say this loud and clear. We are not responsible for fixing white racial hatred. That burden was never ours. The data is everywhere. The statistics are obvious. America's policies are and always have been rooted in racial hatred of black people in particular and anyone not considered white in general. So again, the question becomes, what are Africans in America doing about it? Unity of purpose. Now is the time for every single descendant of the enslaved to come together, not in theory, but in practice. Not in slogans, but in systems. Because survival is not just physical, it's cultural, economic, and psychological. Our responsibility isn't to convince racists to see our humanity. Our responsibility is to create a unity of purpose. Unity that builds infrastructure. Unity that restores ownership. Unity that creates a life beyond poverty and oppression. Building infrastructure from a dream to a blueprint. In previous episodes, I've stressed the importance of creating infrastructure in the black community. Today, we explore how to move that from concept to reality, especially for those who don't have wealth, celebrity, or connection. Here's the truth. A person without resources or fame can still mobilize others in the same circumstance, but it requires structure, vision, and a collective model. Here's what that can look like. First, getting out from under racism will not be easy, but we must move towards self-sufficiency. No one is coming to save us.
I can tell you that if we're 2 days late or 5 days late, everybody says, oh, you had a tremendous failure. Whatever it is, as long as we have it, it's very important.
The centerpiece of the president's legislative agenda, the bill includes roughly $4 trillion in tax cuts.
Blueprint for autonomy, a working model. 1. Like-minded black men moving as one, starting local, organizing by block, zip code, or city. Identify shared goals, whether it's food security, housing, or education. Build trust through accountability and shared vision.
Republicans trying to cover the cost with cuts to programs like Medicaid, leading to an estimated 11.8 million Americans potentially losing their health coverage over the next decade.
Through accountability and shared value. A subscription model for change. Create a membership or cooperative model where each person contributes what they can, $5 or $10 a month. Pooling below average resources on a mass scale still creates economic power. Use this capital for community investments like buying land, funding small black-owned businesses,
and by slashing Biden-era clean energy incentives like solar panel tax credits, vital to small businesses like Micah Gold-Markell's in Philadelphia. Some of his employees voted for Trump, he says.
And I'm concerned that we would have to have the size of our company.
We're talking about 30 jobs.
We're talking about 30 jobs. That's right. I mean, it hurts to say that.
Use this capital for community investments like buying land, funding small black-owned businesses, or tech infrastructure. Reward with life alternatives. Participation in the structure should reward with not just ideologically, but practically. Housing alternatives, skilled trades, health co-ops, digital platforms for education. Remove poverty not by asking, but by building alternatives. The need for urgency and participation. This is not theory. This is not just reflection. We are living.
There are so many sensible solutions, but that's not what this bill is. This bill is a ripoff, and it helps the wealthiest at the expense of everyone else.
Need for urgency and participation. This is not theory. This is not just reflection. We are living through a coordinated rollback of black progress in America. The gains of the civil rights era are under direct attack. Voting rights are weakened, affirmative action is dismantled, and even birthright citizenship is being questioned. The current Supreme Court is openly unraveling decades of hard-fought legal precedents to serve an elite and regressive agenda. These moves aren't isolated, they are strategic, and they make one truth unavoidable. Survival under this system is no longer sustainable. That's why Blueprint for Autonomy isn't just a proposal, it's a lifeline. But this blueprint is not complete without you. The work of building real infrastructure, economic, political, cultural, requires input, vision, and effort from the community it's meant to serve. Your voice, your experience, your ideals are not only welcomed, they are essential. We encourage you to review the model, suggest improvements, and join the conversation. This is about collective power. It's time to stop reacting and start constructing the future we want together. This platform, Real Talk Politics, exists to change mindsets. My goal is to challenge African Americans to stop looking for a seat at someone else's table. Let's build our own table, our own economy, and our own future. The time for symbolic gestures is over. The time for black-owned infrastructure is now, because observable reality tells us America will not save us and it will not change. So we must save ourselves with unity, strategy, and vision. And until the next episode, this has been Real Talk Politics, where the truth stays raw and the mission stays black. Subscribe, share, and step into the work of liberation under black management. And until next time, stay bold, stay united, stay built.